Our latest LV game of the week in Headingley began with the early wicket of Alex Lees, who's out for just a single after Andrew Gale had batted first after winning the toss against Hampshire, welcoming a number of England players back into the fold, although Liam Plunkett was missing for disciplinary reasons. There was, of course, a lot of attention on Adam Lyth, one of the reasons why this was the game where our manned camera was sent. With England looking again for a new opening batsman for the forthcoming Test series with New Zealand, the favourite for that role, Lyth, looked good in his first innings since the season opener against the MCC. It was tough going in the morning for the batsman, and Cheteshwar Pujara, who could have been run out after a mix-up and had also been dropped at slip, gave the now beardless James Tomlinson his second wicket with 57 runs on the board. Sean Irving completed the dismissal this time. Pujara was out for 18, leaving it to Gale to get the innings moving. He would have been delighted to have so many players back, and that appeared to free the left-hander up as he played some neat shots to dominate the scoring of a third wicket partnership, which was to go on to realise 42 runs, Gale's contribution to that being 26. Having said that, he did run out his partner Lyth, who was short of his ground here, only for the umpire to give the batsman the benefit of the doubt. Indeed, Lyth was riding his luck a bit as he just about got enough on this shot to make it difficult for the sprinting debutant Lewis McManus to complete the dismissal. Having done the hard work, the keeper may think he should have held on. So, Lyth was able to do what he always seems to do when the spotlight is on him, and that's to accumulate runs of his own. His first championship innings of the summer almost inevitably brought him a half-century, his 7th four taking him to his mark off 110 balls. The 27-year-old struck nearly 1,500 championship runs last season, with 600s included, and he was on his way once again. So it came as something of a surprise when he fell 2 balls later, a maiden catch, this time behind the stumps for McManus, a former England under-19 player, Andre Adams striking in his 12th over. Lyth will have been disappointed, but it was a knock which may well have done enough to earn him selection for England. Of course, only time will tell. Adams was celebrating again in his next over too, Gale having moved to 30, also on his way, as Michael Carberry held on off a leading edge to leave Yorkshire on 114 for 4 against a Hampshire side which has looked in good order against many of the division's fancied teams this year. They would have been very well placed had they added to the wickets now, but instead Johnny Bairstow changed the complexion of the day after hitting his 16th ball for a 6. While Jack Leaning settled in at the other end, Bairstow played an attacking hand as if he'd been scoring runs for fun in the middle of late. This, of course, was his first game back, and he was soon making up for lost time. This hit just kept on going. While the rest of the batsmen struggled to show too much flair, Bairstow struck one boundary after another to reach a 50 off only 46 balls with a 3 off Liam Dawson. Bairstow's innings was in contrast to much that had gone on before it. He has been unseated in the England team of late by Jos Buttler, but showed on this evidence that he is ready for a recall if the opportunity arises anytime soon. He thus far struck 6 4s and 2 6s, and he then went after Dawson some more, striking him for 3 more boundaries in 1 over as the pace of the innings really began to grow. Suddenly, after 114 runs had come off the first 40 overs, 94 came off the next 20. Bairstow hardly missed out on anything, and a third maximum, another off the expensive Dawson, whose 3-over spell cost 27 runs, quickly had the batsman into the 70s. Leaning supported him well from the other end, although not playing with the same intent as his partner. He was looking good as the runs came along nicely for the champions, who were by tea having a fine day, reaching 243 for 4 with Bairstow on an 83-ball 88. And it was not too long into the evening session when the 25-year-old got to 3 figures off only 104 deliveries with a couple of Adams. It was a magnificent display and one which had many at the ground on their feet. He turned this game around and had made batting look rather easy while so many around him had struggled in these conditions. Not Bairstow, who deserved all the applause for a wonderful innings and one which clearly meant a lot to him. But 2 balls after securing the 12th ton of his first-class career, Bairstow was surprisingly heading back to the pavilion after glancing too fine off Adams, a wicket which ended a partnership of 155 with Leaning, made in 32 overs. There has been a lot of talk about Adil Rashid of late. He didn't get a start here, falling to just his 6th delivery before he'd got off the mark. The wicket going to Gareth Berg, with Edwards rather coolly completing the dismissal. Berg then also removed Will Rhodes, who dropped from opener to number 8 because of the inclusion of Lyth at the top of the order. Rhodes was out for 4 as Yorkshire lost 3 wickets for 10 runs to the old ball. But by now, Leaning had passed a 50 off 93 balls, and he and new man Tim Bresden were then able to see out the last 21 overs of the day. It had been that kind of day, a cluster of wickets followed by a partnership of note, which meant that it was a tough thing to call as to which side would have been the happier of the two at the end. Although, with runs on the board and batting still to come, Yorkshire will certainly not be downhearted. They will go again on 333 for 7, Bresden on 23, and Leaning needing another 23 runs for his second first-class 100 of the season and the second of his career. He is another Yorkshire player who will doubtless interest the England selectors before too long.